Okay, thank you for being very patient. We are live. We are recording. Phone lines will remain off, and go for it.
Thank you very much. Good evening and welcome to the Planning Board of the Town of East Hampton, our meeting of April 3rd, 2024. We have a number of items on for work session tonight and a few items on for resolutions in our regular meetings. There are no public hearings. So we will get started with GSL edition. Lou, that's yours. And Tina, you're covering everything tonight for the planning department?
I am, except Lisa Locori is doing to cover
should be doing the spring storm. Okay. And Ms. Wiltshire, is that one yours? This one, GSL? Yes. Very good. All right. Take it away.
Okay, thank you, Sam. This is the application for GSL shop position located at 137 and 139 Springs Fireplace Road. I have the location of the sites, currently 2 lots that are going to be merged as part of this application, right off Spring Fireplace Road, Washington Avenue in East Hampton. So zooming out just to give you the regional view. This is a wrap-up discussion for this application. The public hearing was held in person and electronically on January 10th, and no members of the public spoke. At the time of the public hearing, the application was referred to the Suffolk County Planning Commission for comments based on its location adjacent to Springs Fireplace Road, which is County Road in this location. They issued 2 comments to us, which I have in the memo. The first comment is expressing the comment to preserve existing vegetation where possible. In looking at this, we believe the applicant has done this as the existing vegetation on the south and east of the site is being maintained. And they also have an extensive landscaping plan that's going to serve to shield the new development from views from Springs Fireplace Road. Do you think that's compliant with comment 1? Comment 2, they referred the applicant to the Suffolk County Planning Green Infrastructure Manual. So we're passing that comment on to the applicant. It's possible Suffolk County raising that at this time. They may want to see something associated with the road opening having to do with that. If that's the case, the applicant should, come back and consult with the planning department if there's any changes that might require a safe bed modification. Otherwise, the fire marshal has approved this application as of the 13th of October last year, and provided the board agrees, the application's ready for approval. I do have suggested conditions of approval listed that I'll go through now. And then if the board's in agreement, we do have a resolution on for this evening later. So the condition of approval are as follows. During the application review, we had discussed with the applicant the importance of managing potentially hazardous materials in a safe manner. And one of the requirements that came out of that discussion was that waste oil must be stored in double-wall containers. And so we are suggesting that proof of implementation of this environmental protection measure be provided to the planning board prior to the certificate of occupancy being issued. The next condition is regarding Suffolk County Department of Public Works approval for road work and adjacent to the right-of-way. That's going to be obviously required. The last one that's really substantive is that as-built drawings confirming compliance with the approved design drawings that show the groundwater protection policy is being implemented for this location are going to be required prior to the certificate of occupancy. That will help ensure that drains internal to the structure don't discharge potentially hazardous materials to the groundwater. We are in a groundwater protection area. Thank you. That concludes my comments.
Okay. Ms. Wiltshire, you have anything to add?
Nothing to add, no.
Okay, Lou?
Yeah, no, I think, I think the application is ready for approval. I think those conditions of approval are important, especially the double wall container for the waste oil, as well as the drawings that show that they're in compliance with the approved design drawings policy. I think think those are crucial, but other than that, or not other than that, but emphasizing those things, I think we're ready for approval.
Terrific. Does anyone else have any comments? No? Okay. In that case, do you have a copy of the resolution?
Yes.
Would you like to read the resolution? Salient parts of the resolution?
In the matter of the application of GSL Shop Edition Site Plan, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-149-7-26.1 and 27.1, I have read the site plan approval and I move for its adoption.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passed 7-0. That's one. Okay. Next is Maram Cabanas, the ADA ramp, and Ms. Wiltshire, that's yours also? Okay, and Michael, that's yours, right? Okay. Take it away, Tina.
Okay, thank you. This next application is for a site plan for the Maram Cabanas located at 21 Ocean View Terrace in Montauk. Have the location up on the screen, not covered the parcel. It's adjacent to the Atlantic Ocean, and that's Montauk, right outside downtown Montauk. Just so you can show you circle. The application proposes 5 cabanas for a total of 72 square feet, and the proposed cabanas have an area of 72 square feet and are each 8 foot tall. And that is the only scope of work that is currently proposed for this. So I'm going to bring up the survey to show it a little more. So you can see here, cabanas are 8 by 8 dimensions. They are going on an existing deck that is adjacent to the pool. The site is located in a B residence zone. However, according to the building department records, it's been a motel since the 1950s with various improvements proposed and approved since then. With respect to the issues for discussion listed in the memo, we propose that the action is a type 2 action pursuant to SECRA, the category listed there, and therefore requires no further review. Regarding the next section's natural resource special permit, the applicant has applied for a natural resources special permit, which is appropriate due to the location of the proposed cabanas within close proximity to the top of the dune. You can see here, it's about 35 feet, the closest location. We note in the memorandum that this area of Montauk coastline was recently replenished with sand with, pursuant to the PIMP program. The setback distances will likely need to be estimated. We haven't asked the applicant to go back and reassess where the dune crest is currently. Talking to the folks in the planning department, we feel this is going to be acceptable to estimate the setback based on the survey that we have here. There was a small discrepancy that we wanted to ask the applicant to address, and that is with respect to the coastal erosion hazard area boundaries. I'm just going to blow up the photos right here. You can see here, this gray area on the survey shows the surveyed estimation of the boundary of the CHA, coastal erosion hazard overlay, that they estimate, and then this line here in blue shows the one that the town's GIS records show. It's not uncommon for GIS records to deviate slightly from survey data, but for a discrepancy this large, we would just ask the applicant to submit the CHA method they use, and we'll just make sure that we know whether it's landward of the CHA line, meaning that no permitting would be triggered by the state, or if it's seaward of the line, then they may need to do a little more investigation to determine whether or not a permit is required. Aside from that, the planning department's recommending it's a minor site plan based on the small area of the improvements, and it meets all the criteria listed in the town code, the applicable section. An ARB review will be required. We did note the applicant did show some very schematic level pictures of what the cabanas will look like. We do think the ARB will need a little more information about the style, structures, so just putting that out there as a next step for them. In conclusion, the proposed cabanas are going on an existing deck, and the planning department doesn't take issue with them. We just request that they confirm the CHA line, and if the planning board agrees it's acceptable, it's ready for referral to ZBA for the natural resource special permit review.
Thank you, Ms. Wiltshire.
I just want to add one thing. It's more of a request, and I'm not sure if you're the people who address it to. It might be Tina. These zoning board applications are taking up to 18 months lately. And this is such a minor matter that someone's got to be able to pull it in and just get it out there and get it done. Like that when I put in March 8th of 2023 for a hot tub and a small addition, they still have no hearing date, nothing. It's been over a year. But I'm not sure what's going on in that department. I'm not sure there's anything you can do for me, but maybe Tina can have a word with someone over there.
Do you want us to yell at the ZBA?
It's a yell.
Do you want us to raise our, coerce?
That's better.
Coerce is definitely not in our, the code.
Lori, I think what's happening, we have too many applications for not enough reviewers. I know that you guys put in an application for this several months ago that included the ramp, so you have been in the queue for quite some time. We'll take that into consideration, you know, and when we're trying to schedule things. Thank you. Yeah.
We got two alumni of the ZBA here, you know, we'll have our alumni privileges revoked if we start in with it.
I didn't know you could say "siha." I learned that just now. That's a good one. So, can you provide a clarification of the?
The surveyor will have to.
Yeah,
But you'll do it.
but you do.
No, I will, yeah. No, he has to give me whatever he used, and I'll give it to you.
Okay, very good. The cabana is just like they're for just changing rooms. Is that what they're
No,
for?
I think they usually put those like sort of bed couches in them to hang out.
They're like
They're covered as opposed to sitting in a chaise lounge in the sun or having lots of umbrellas.
Okay, cool. This seems very straightforward to me. I'm good with it.
Anybody have any comments about this?
No, not at all.
No anti-cabanas?
Lots of good cabana.
We should take a field trip there as a,
Yeah, that's right. We all need to go and look.
After new builds, we have a lot.
Perfect day for it. Does the planning board agree that the proposed action is classified as type 2 pursuant to secret?
Yes.
All around? Yes. And does the application qualify as a minor site plan?
yes.
Yes, all around. Okay, so get back to planning department with that CHA information.
I will.
We're already saying that now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay,
Two.
Beckman Commercial, that's yours, right? And who is that?
That's me. No, Jen.
Oh, Jen, I don't know.
That's okay.
Okay.
That's right. Well, maybe.
Can I
Please,
go for it? Great.
all right, Ed.
This next application is the Beckman Commercial Building. It is a site plan special permit modification. The board has discussed this application many times over the past several months. And as you will all recall, there were a number of changes made to the site plan, to the site after the site plan approval was issued. The board has discussed all those changes in depth over the past several months and has accepted all. And the only remaining issue now is the work in the alleyway. So at the last meeting, the planning board reviewed a alley plan that was also accepted by the board. Since the last meeting, the applicant has worked with the neighbor to get their approval, and because there's a small amount of access that is required to implement this plan to the neighboring property. Based on those discussions, the limits of the work has changed a little bit since the plan that the planning board last saw. However, the town engineer and the planning department have reviewed these changes and find them substantively, consistent with what the board approved at the last meeting. And with that, that is really the last issue that was open and needed discussion. The ZBA has issued an updated approval, and now the approval of the ZBA and the planning board will be on the same map. And so in conclusion, the application is ready for approval, provided the board agrees. And we do have suggested conditions of approval listed at the bottom of the memo. And if the board's in agreement with those, we have a resolution for passing this evening. So I'll go through the conditions quickly.
Please, thank you.
During the design process, the applicant's engineer worked with the Suffolk County Water Authority regarding the location of a water main that's rather close to the proposed drainage structures in the alley. They indicated they approved of the work as long as the water main was marked out and protected during construction. And so we just have that the mark out needs to be completed before digging hose. The other requirements are that the work in the alley be required prior to the certificate of occupancy, and that the engineers on site to supervise the work due to the delicate nature of the water main and the changes that need to be made. And then it's just final approval from other entities, which I think may have been already received based on the original site plan application. And that's all.
Very well, thank you.
Kara Burke from Lighthouse Lampland, here on behalf of Rhett Beckman. I just wanted to thank the board and the planning department for the review of this. As we've discussed previously, I know it went in a less than ideal order towards the end, so thank you for your patience while we sorted that out. And as Tina summarized, we were able to come to a conclusion with the neighbors to allow them access, which is, I think, fantastic for all parties involved, including the board. And the neighbors have been notified, as Tina indicated as one of the conditions of approval. And we've been in contact with them basically every day, letting them know where things are at. And they're aware that the work is going to happen. The mark out has already been done, and our engineer looked it over. We did submit a letter to the board's file saying that should we get a resolution tonight, we do intend to proceed with the alley work. It's going to be tomorrow, but because of the weather, it'll probably be the next day. The neighbor's been notified, the town's been notified, the mark out's been completed, the ARB approval has been submitted to the file, the health department stamped plan is in the file. So we have no objections to the conditions of approval, and I think we've addressed all of them. So.
Very good.
Thank you.
Jen?
I think this sounds great that all of these things have been addressed. Thank you for taking care of all that. And since the last issue was the alleyway, if an agreement has been reached with the neighbor and the owners, I say we're good.
Tara, you've been working with the neighbor with regard specifically to the alleyway?
Yes, yep. We notified them on March 19th of when we decided to coordinate when the work would be good for them. They gave us some dates. We settled on the end of this week, beginning of next week.
So they know you're going to be...
Yep.
They know.
And the letter that was submitted to the board's file, we also emailed to them. So they have a copy of that one as well.
So they know the exact nature of the fix?
Oh, yeah. They had to sign an agreement that reflects the plan that
gotcha.
the board approved, and I submitted that agreement to the board's file. And then the certificates of insurance have their name on them and they have those certificates since that the work will be done partially on their property.
Will the building inspector inspect the work after it's all done?
The building inspector, the town engineer. During. So Drew's intention is once the drywalls go in and we're in need of an inspection, he's going to email all involved parties. But we've been on these constant email strings with Joe Palermo and Vinny Gaudiello and Tina, so he's going to let everybody know so everyone can come and do their inspections throughout the process.
Let's make sure that everybody knows what's going on and nobody gets ahead of the curve on this.
Our goal is to not repeat what happened previously.
You are
Keep it all on the up and up.
even more specific than I am. Very good. I don't see any questions on our little report. So I guess the question is the application complete and ready for,
Yeah, if you agree with the conditions of approval,
I can wing that.
thank you.
Do we agree with the conditions of approval?
Yes.
We do.
Okay. And any changes to the conditions of approval?
No, not a one.
Okay, that's two. All right. So, so the application is complete and ready for approval. Yes?
We have a
And we
resolution.
have a resolution.
And now if you would be so kind.
Absolutely. In the matter of the application of Beckman Commercial Building Site Plan, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 300-49-1-14, I have read the resolution and the site plan approval and move for its adoption.
Is there a second?
Second.
Who got that one?
I'll get
We
it.
read it back. That's Bruce's. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passed 7-0.
No,
I apologize.
I choose
Thank
not
you.
to vote for this.
Okay, in that case, all those in
You're
favor?
abstaining, or are you-
Seriously, I apologize.
Abstaining.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstention.
6, 0, and 1. Sorry about that. All right, the next one is Springs General Store, and that's going to be Ms. McCory, Lisa? Is she on the screen? Okay. Good night.
Okay, thank you. So this is a site plan application to convert an existing 175 square foot storage shed to a wine sales location. As you can see, the site is on Accabonac Harbor, Springs Fireplace, Old Stone Highway Road, close to Pussy's Pond and the Springs School. There is an existing Springs General Store with a kayak rental use on the site. The store is a 2.5-story retail building with a second floor accessory apartment. There are multiple accessory structures on the site, and the kayak rental use is proposed to be abandoned. The site is in a neighborhood business zone, and it's within the Springs Historic District. It is a historic building, and the site is also located within the Harbor Protection Overlay District. The board reviewed the application last in October, and the applicant has come back with much information, and we appreciate the efficient manner that they came back in a well-organized way. So the first question was about what the Architectural Review Board has to say about it, and the board has received the application, but they have not yet commented. So we note that comments and recommendations from the ARB can still be submitted and taken into consideration by the board. After you deem the application complete, you can review that as part of your public hearing comments. We note that their comments will be very important as the property is in a historic district, and any changes to the facade visible from the street will be critical importance. Another development is that the applicant got approval from the Disabilities Advisory Board in October. They offered their support for the proposal to make the store ADA compliant. A larger question that the board had last time was basically to deal with the liquor licenses that had been applied for and obtained from the State Liquor Authority. And the board had asked the applicant to submit all the applications that they had submitted and received from the SLA, along with a narrative regarding how all the businesses to be located on the site, including the general store and the wine store, were proposed to be operated. There was a proposal to allow on-site consumption, and one of the SLA permits would have allowed that as well. And the board had anticipated that there would be covenants and restrictions in order to manage the nature of the site, the number of patrons, the locations, the hours, etc., for this new use for on-site consumption, and had urged the applicant to start working on that with the planning department. So the applicant has come back with a rather large change in this, indicating that they had directed their state liquor authority attorney to withdraw the license for the on-premises consumption of wine. And they submitted a copy of that letter that their attorney had submitted and a copy from the SLA indicating the receipt of it. We asked for further clarification of that, and the clarification indicated that no on-site premises alcohol consumption is proposed. And as a result, the development of covenants and restrictions is no longer necessary because the covenants wouldn't be required for any retail sale of alcohol for on-site premises consumption. That does not speak to what might be permitted for the Springs General Store as an existing and a permitted use. We note, however, and this is not in my memo, that there are notes on the plan that indicate the picnic tables that are proposed, 3 outdoor and 1 inside, are for on-site consumption. And we would recommend that that notation be changed so that there's not any confusion in the future, just to indicate seasonal outdoor seats would be sufficient. We also note that there had been a great deal of discussion about this and the application has changed, but that if there are changes to the SLA permit in the future or a new permit to allow on-site consumption, that a new site plan application be required. There was additional information requested regarding the width of the navigational aisles that comply with the town code. Much as that has been submitted, they've indicated, though, that there'll be a one-way access navigation into the site, and we're asking for them to indicate the one-way traffic flow, where which of the entrances would be in and which would be out, so that we could see that there'll be enough room between the parked cars to have the proper aisle space. They have confirmed with the health department the accuracy of their sanitary calculations, and we agree that what they've proposed meets the standards. We've also reviewed the depth to groundwater restrictions they're proposing to upgrade the sanitary to an IA system, and that there will be 4-foot depth to groundwater below the leaching rings. The town engineer found it generally acceptable, with the exception of the application of oil on the crushed stone, and that was found to be unacceptable as it would make the surface not permeable. So elimination of the emulsifier and a revision of the plan is recommended. In terms of the request to find a more appropriate location for the generator that complies with setbacks and the noise code, the application has decided to abandon a proposed generator and use battery backup technology instead inside one of the buildings. Therefore, it won't impact the aesthetics or the noise generated from the site. And we commend the applicant for that proposal. In terms of the lighting plan, they've submitted some but not all of the information that is required. A photometric plot plan illustrating the light incidence and foot candles throughout the site must be submitted as previously noted in the planning department memo. And then there is a notation about the lights proposed for the Springs General Store building. They're very lovely looking barn lights, but the notations are that the lights will be installed so that the bulb will be above the lowest section of the porch overhang to achieve full cutoff. And we question whether that meets the planning board and planning department standards, and we would really like to see the fixture itself have full cutoff. Finally, in terms of SECRA, the application is classified as a Type 2 action pursuant to SECRA. in that it's a commercial structure involving less than 4,000 square feet of gross floor area and not involving a change in zoning or a use variance consistent with all local controls. The application will require a number of natural resource special permit. Well, no variances from the wetlands are proposed, but a number of the structures and a number of the structures proposed to be removed are within the jurisdictions of the wetlands, and a natural resource special permit application has been submitted. So in conclusion, the applicant has withdrawn the SLA application to allow on-site drinking of wine associated with the proposed wine store. We're asking the planning board to make sure that you have the necessary information to understand the proposed use of the site. There are a couple of issues with the lighting, site navigation, and site surfacing that's still required to be addressed. And then the application will be complete and ready for referral to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Thank you very much, Lisa, for that thorough report. Does the applicant wish to be heard?
Just trying to think of what's the better way of going about it. Does the board have questions and then I can address it that way so that I'm not taking up more time?
Appreciate that. We always give you a chance to respond to the planning department's report. If there's something you want to correct, clarify, but if you just want to let us go into our discussion, and I imagine a question or two may come up.
Just a few things, just because.
We'll need your name.
So yes, Michael Shiano from InterScience Research Associates on behalf of the applicant.
Appreciate that.
Mr. Bennett and Mr. Bennett wish they were able to be here, however they were out of town today, so you have me to speak with. And so first, regarding the SLA license, I just wanted to note again that it was the on-premises consumption was withdrawn. We kind of observed through the discussion at the last meeting that we had that it was the main concern that the board had regarding this application. So we felt that it was best to go forward with withdrawing that for this application so that we can focus on what the actual use of the property is going to be. So
Regarding the SLA,
yes.
what's the existing Springs General Store has a beer license?
The existing store does not have a license.
Any liquor license? Any kind of?
According to what I was told, well, they don't have any on-premise consumption license.
No on-premises
consumption. They had one for the sale of beer and cider, I believe.
But it's only for sale?
For sale.
Takeaway. I think they call that a takeaway or an off-premises
right.
takeaway license. Okay, so they.
If anyone was to drink it on premises, then they were not doing it in the legally, essentially.
Fine way to put it.
Yeah.
All right, so no, all kidding aside. So whether it's wine from this proposed wine shop or beer sold in the general store main building, none of that can be legally consumed on the premises.
Right.
Very good.
So can I just clarify too? So I see there's a wine store liquor license, or not liquor, wine license, and there's a beer license, right? If you intend to sell beer at the main building.
Yeah, that's separate.
The existing one, which you were asking about, would have been for the previous operator. So right now, I believe that there is not one that for the Springs General Store because it is not operating.
Do you intend to get a beer
I believe that, yeah, they would intend to get one in order to sell beer and cider out of the Springs General Store.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, you don't purchase a license. You have to get your own.
Yeah, it's very exacting standards.
I don't know how to get my own.
It's not. It's a whole field.
Yeah.
So, I have a further question about that, and maybe this is directed to Nancy. I hate to split hairs like this, but since there are kind of two premises, right, and you're buying the wine at the wine shop, is consuming it off premise? Is there an opportunity for some interpretation to make the picnic tables at the other premises off premise to the wine shop?
Yeah,
Or am I getting,
am I getting the site.
Wow.
new career, kapow.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the same site. You know, if you wanted an aside from the SLA, you could have, you know, if you end up approving it, the condition of approval that there will be no consumption. If you want to kind of drive that home, you know, that point home.
No?
I think it's important.
It wouldn't hurt, you know, frankly.
Yeah, premise.
It can just be, it's just going to be worded very definitively, is the way you're saying, in our approval.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
I would ask that if we are going to discuss it, that we discuss that at a later date
Right, when you
the
have
Attorney's
somebody
Counsel
who's
is
got
here
it done.
to
Yeah,
speak
sure.
to that.
Well, yeah, look, you're going to have to come back anyway because of the lighting issue and a couple of other, you know, less, some other remaining issues. Okay.
Is there still an IA system in this?
Yes.
There is. Okay, I didn't see it here.
We got their grant.
Oh, you got a grant. Great.
Yeah.
Good for you.
It was not in this because there were no issues with the proposal. So regarding the parking aisle turnaround stuff, I noted in my resubmission that, just in the narrative of my resubmission, that we are going to have one-way entrance and exit, essentially from the western curb cut, for lack of, I guess, to the west of the fence that we're going to put there to separate the entrance. That would be the one-way in. And then on the east of the fence, that would be the one-way out. We had not specified it on the plan because it's still going to be gravel pervious, so we weren't sure if, I guess for the site plan purpose, if we should show it as an arrow because it's not going to be actually painted on anything. But we've already updated the plan to show the arrow, if it's really that important to show it directly on the plan about where that is, but I just want to make sure that was clear. And regarding the town engineer comments about the application of crushed stone with oil or oil and stone, that was remnant. So the IA system plans that we had picked up essentially when the property was sold still had that detail on it from when the previous owner had actually started the process, and we just missed it. In all of my submission documents, we indicated that it was going to be pervious, so that's a very easy detail to change, and in fact, it's already been updated on my plans as of today. Regarding the lighting, so the information from the town's from the memo indicated that if new lighting is proposed, a lighting plan that meets the town lighting guidelines should be submitted. So I looked in the town code, and the town code, chapter 255, indicated that we had to make sure that it was full cutoff and that there were no light trespassed and that we weren't directing any lights off of the property. It wasn't until that I received this memo that I realized that maybe the town has a set of guidelines other than what's in the code. So everything that we submitted was specifying the fact that everything was in full cutoff. And also, Tina, can you just bring up the lighting plan? Do you have that there?
Just have to scroll until I find it.
Yeah, I think that may be it. I think that was.
We do have the planning board lighting.
I found that today at 5:30. Yes. Well, it might pick me up if I just go and point.
Go right ahead.
It's fine? Okay. So let me just note that these lights here are all just small, like 15-inch tall path lights, essentially so that when people are driving through here, they don't accidentally veer off at night into the landscaping. And then the only other lights that are proposed are attached and affixed to the buildings. Seeing what the lighting requirements are for in the guidelines for exterior lighting, it's something that's very simply done. So I guess I would ask whether, I mean, we're not going to have any light trespass that goes off the property. There's no lighting that is pointed, that will be directed into anyone's yard or anything like that. And it is, I guess my question would be, is the purpose of it to just ensure that it complies with the guidelines? Because it's very simple to just, for us to have that as a condition. I understand the need to show it on the plan, but we're obviously not putting lights all over the site where it would be something that would be difficult to control. So I just want the board to potentially consider, I'm just trying to get to the next stage here. At least I don't think that it would be an issue that the site lighting, I don't think would be an issue that the zoning board needs to be held up for. So I just want the board to consider whether we can move forward without providing a full photometric plan, because then we have to submit it, the planning board needs to review it, I mean the planning department needs to review it, and there's a lot of time there involved in that.
So you'll accept that as a condition of approval?
Know what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as the where the lighting fixtures are underneath the overhang, you just go to the next page. I think the bottom of that sheet has the detail that we're getting to the right.
Off to the side, yeah.
Thanks, Lisa. So this is the light detail, and actually the bulb itself, where the light source is inside of this. So it looks like that the bulb is out here, but the light itself is actually up here. This is all just like aesthetic, to make it look like this, but the light itself is inside of this fixture. And then to further ensure that light isn't projected outwards, it's also underneath this overhang. Right now, I believe that the lighting underneath that overhang, like I think that actually there's, I don't think that you can see these rafters that are here, because I think that there's plywood or something like that up, and then there's just like a, I forget what the names they are, but essentially just a dome light underneath that affixes it. So this would actually be making this more compliant, but I think that it would still meet the full cutoff requirement that the code has.
Those are only in the front or on the sides?
Those are only in the front, and then around the perimeter we have these lights.
How many are in the front, would you say?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You can see it better than I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are those lights going to stay on all night long, or are they going to go off? Okay.
The town code does not allow us to do that. So it would be, I believe that it's, I think they have to go off at a certain time, and we would not have them on all the time. So if we could be compliant with the code, make sure that it's not something, and again, we would agree to a condition for that. Okay, so that's all my notes for that.
And then I saw you look at your survey about getting rid of the on-premise consumption.
Yes, yeah.
Get the pen out, scratch that out.
Yeah.
It probably is for food
If you would
consumption,
like me to
but-
come in tomorrow and scratch out that from every single one of them, I will do
Do it on
that.
your next visit. Be on the lookout for it.
Yes, I just missed it in trying to resubmit the service.
All right. Yeah, I think all the, I don't want to call them minor items, but the items that didn't have the same emphasis as the main item, the on-premises consumption, I think you've addressed them, I think, satisfactorily. The lighting, the emulsifier, the generator, all those things I think have been taken care of. The driveway. So, the big problem that I had right from the beginning, I think that everybody had, was the on-site consumption. To turn this cherished site, neighborhood site, into something different than it's always been. So I think with the removal or the doing away with the on-site consumption, goes a long way to appease everybody's concerns. One question. I know it came out in previous meetings that the hours of operation changed. There was no more morning hours. And the morning hours were curtailed and the evening hours were extended, I believe. I may be wrong about the extension, but it seemed to me that, instead of having a breakfast, coffee type place, it was going to be more of an evening type of establishment. So the reason I'm bringing that up, I don't mean, I don't want to get into how you operate a business. The only reason I'm bringing it up is to address this question of what is going to be happening at this location. Is it going to be a gathering of crowds, that kind of thing, which tends to happen at night versus people quietly sitting in the morning having coffee?
I do know from conversations with the applicant that they are not going to stop. So I just want to make sure this is clear, because people have approached them about this very vehemently. They are not going to stop serving breakfast sandwiches, and breakfast is still a very important part of and that, I guess, culture, for lack of a better term, is very important to them going forward. So in terms of moving the evening hour, I think that it's something that we can, I think, revisit just based on the discussions that we've had since then. We were really focused on making sure that it was clear to the board that the on-premise consumption was done. So there were things that probably that we need to go through and probably update at some point, just to make sure that it's very clear to the board what the hours will be, so that you are clear what the use is, and we're fine with providing that.
Because it was 11, the last time I saw it was 11 a.m. to whatever it was, 8 or 9 p.m. So 11 a.m. is past egg sandwich time.
Yeah.
For most people.
Yeah, and part of what's been driving the whole conversation here is the place that the Springs General Store has in the community, and part of that place is breakfast. I know myself, and I live way in Waynescott, and I've gone to the Springs General Store for breakfast. I'm sure that there are lots of people who live a lot closer who would be not happy to know that they can't get their egg sandwich anymore. So glad to hear it.
If they've been approaching them, they've been approaching all of us. I've definitely gotten ping, 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 11 a.m. What are you talking about? 11 a.m. Whoa, whoa.
And we have to explain that we don't set your hours, but we can certainly report what we hear.
Disgruntlement.
Yes. They're going to have to amend the town code for that. So. No, but really, it's all part of the character of the community, and
Of course.
in a very broad sense, maybe not a strictly legal sense. So. Okay.
I don't think it's in our power to make
Right,
you.
that's
It isn't.
no, it is.
The reason I brought it up
This will be
was I
guaranteed
don't-
one breakfast sandwich.
We're not allowed to do that.
But getting back to that other issue, the alcohol consumption, that's the only reason I brought it up. And as far as that goes, it sounds as though you are against. You do not want to have alcohol consumed on premises. You've stated that you've withdrawn your license application and all that. Would you be willing to agree to a covenant that says you will not be serving alcohol on premises?
We understand that this is a concern. The specifics of it, though, at this point, shouldn't hold up moving forward, because it is not part of what our application is. I understand what the concern is, but what I've essentially been asked to say is that it's not part of our application right now. We've taken that out. So if we would like to wait to discuss that specifically until I have I definitely have counsel here to help me with that discussion.
Well, my question is it needed when there's a SLA
Approval process, yeah.
It doesn't make it any more enforceable.
Because they will it doesn't make it any more enforceable, and if they're going to have that consumption and neighbors start to catch on, they're going to get fined.
Yeah. No, and
their license will be
frankly, it'll be
removed,
more than just town code enforcement.
Yeah.
that they'll
No,
have to worry
SLA,
about.
they're,
Yeah, SLA is
So in this memo, when Lisa LaCour said that if at some later date you want to do this, it needs to be
in front
It
of
would
us.
be a.
in front of us, another site
Yeah.
plan. Exactly. So maybe that should be
That's-
prominent.
Ed raised the potentially real question, which we should look into, whether or not there's, the possibility of an argument that there's two different locations, and maybe we need
I mean,
to
it's
cover.
not.
it's real.
I mean, I think we should solidify the language, but just knowing the fact that this is being considered a second use on that same premise. I mean, it's a second use on that property. So I don't think it can't be two places.
But let's just be, but let's be,
Right, but
It's one
I agree with
property,
solidifying the
Let's be clear about
language. But I just think it cannot be two places.
Maybe we can get an opinion from the
Yeah.
I just know that because I
It's
went to the
like
kayak
relativity.
thing. No, I mean, I've been
Yeah,
through
I mean, it's just
these
one
stuff.
site, just because there's two uses doesn't mean it's like two different separate properties or
We
two
were
sites.
arguing the opposite of that. I remember when Mr. Bennett was saying that before they withdrew the on-premises consumption license application, he was saying you could buy a bottle of wine at the store, walk it over to the picnic tables, have them open it and consume it there. That he thought that was considered off premises. And the argument that we made, which is what you're saying, and I agree, it's not off premise. It's the same premise. It's the same property.
site.
Yeah, it's the same site. But anyway, that's all moot now because there is no on-site.
Yeah.
Right, so the license that they have is for the retail sale of wine.
Right.
So when we say off-premise or on-premise, it's only for the retail sale of wine. That is what the license that they have.
right, listen,
And it's true. Ed could say something like, it cannot be on their property, and we can say the property of the spring
property
shuttle store.
includes,
Somehow
Yeah.
in the resolution.
I'd like it to be clear.
I think the
yeah.
important thing is to understand, and I'm sure Mr. Bennett will understand, we want to button this up. Because there's a lot of light on this, there's a lot of concern in the community about this, and justifiably. The applicant has already said he doesn't want a bacchanalia, was that the word? And which.
He used that word.
Yeah, that's not in my vocabulary. So, the idea is I think we're all on the same page. Let's make sure that it's all, that when we're done with the process, everybody can agree that this is what they've agreed to do, this is what they're going to do, and there's no wiggle room.
Yeah, it's got to be really clear. I mean, because we know that from the beginning, this idea of the sort of French or Napa Valley kind of idea of being able to have a sandwich and a glass of wine was like a very important part of the concept, right? So I think we just need, like Sam said, to make sure that we're really buttoned it down. And, and thank you, by the way, for, taking in what we've said about this.
That's very important. Thank you. Go ahead.
Very, very important. But I want you to know that it's not just us sitting around this table that had issues. We all heard a lot from a lot of people about it, right? So it's not a popular idea in the community.
And it really does speak to the validity of this process, that you saw that.
Yeah.
The applicant saw that and understood that, you're taking over a beloved location. You want it to continue to be beloved. And so you've done what is necessary to facilitate that. So, like I said, let's just make sure that it's all on paper.
Just speaking to the process, it's also the reason why we have a proposed ADA ramp. It's also why, so there's numerous aspects of this to speak to the process.
Well, actually, that's kind of what stood out. I mean, it's consistent with the other things that you're doing. The ADA ramp and the water, the
system, the 14,000 plus square feet of
all of
revegetation.
it. So it'd be like one glaring, we're not going to do this, so, and you're not. I mean, now you are, so it's all good.
Thank Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so I guess, did you have anything else, Lou?
I just wanted to ask, will you agree to a covenant not to have bacchanalia?
Anti-bacchanalia.
Again, you need to ask counsel about that.
Yeah, no, wait, I understand. You know,
We'll
look,
have croissants.
that we can,
That we can covenant that in.
you know, the liquor license laws in New York are, to call them arcane would be a generous description. And I don't want you to feel any need or obligation to try to, you know, guide our conversation in that regard. We've got lawyers for that. We'd be happy to hear from them.
When are you going to open?
Yeah.
I don't know, when can we get on the zoning board agenda?
Another one.
All right.
That's two tonight.
That's two memos we're not going to write.
It's not this summer again.
Yeah, making other plans.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to run through the questions then. Right? Has the applicant provided sufficient information regarding the SLA licenses and proposed use of the site?
Yes.
Okay. Should a new site plan application be required if there are changes or additions to the existing SLA license?
Absolutely.
If the applicant provides the requested information regarding traffic flow, aisle dimensions, surfacing improvements to comply with the town consulting engineer recommendations, and a conforming light plan, will the application be complete and ready for referral to the zoning board of appeals?
Yes.
There you are.
So can I just ask?
Please, go right ahead.
Because I don't necessarily, I think the applicant substantially addressed all the comments today. I don't know that the planning board needs to see this again before it goes to ZBA. Do you both feel, I mean, I think the applicant needs to continue to address your questions about the use, right? And when we're done with ZBA, come back with those answers very crisp. Do you want them?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, you
agree.
can't do it. The applicant can't do anything till it gets to the ZBA.
Of course, but I would just like to get them in the ZBA queue and, I mean, you're in the queue, but you're
And you know the direction that we're going here, and you know that the areas of concern. So when you come back after the ZBA, you know, Mr. Bennett will address those. Yeah, in a couple of years.
Hopefully a new board.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, that's fine. So I know you have something else to do on a Wednesday night.
So I'll be able to submit the information to the planning department, and they'll be able to then say that we can move forward with the zoning board and the ARB.
So you are also in the ARB queue. I think what would be great is if you've already updated this plan, submit that
I'll
to the
take the on-premise
ZBA.
stuff
So
over, yeah.
we can take the updated plan to the ZBA.
Okay.
And then we move forward. And you're already in the ARB queue. Great.
All right, I mean, you'll come back before us, but go do other things. Right. And we'll see you then. All right?
Okay, we'll discuss the rest of the process.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we have, the only two things left are a board of review, and I have to mention something. Let me just do the board of review real quick. This is the request of Kathy Green and Robert Golden for a building permit at 17 Audubon Street. By the way, is that spelled correctly? No. Audubon, no, I'm not sure about that.
The word Audubon is not spelled correctly.
It could be Autobahn, like in Germany.
It's not.
The street is misspelled. The street might be misspelled.
Well, Audubon, however it's spelled, because we're going to go by the tax map, which is 300-77-8-11.7.
I is a U.
Yes, it should be. The work that's being done is to install asphalt 24 feet starting at the intersection Harbor Boulevard and the westerly side of, again, Audubon Street, and continuing west along Harbor Boulevard for a distance of 672 linear feet. And the undertaking is $22,500. I've reviewed the board of review, and I move for its approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Is that what
That's right, is there a second?
I forgot. 7-0 passed. Yeah, no, that problem is I'm not used to reading it. The minutes, I have reviewed the minutes, and I move move for their adoption. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor? Okay, thanks. Before we adjourn, please check your email. The town submitted its submission, if you will, to the DEC on the senior center. Our response to the DEC is due 10 days. Language is after it's received by us, but we're going to be even quicker than that. So to me, I believe on the date it was sent. In any event, that deadline is imminent. Check your emails and give, that's the town's application.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
We have a response that is going to be forthcoming on our behalf. It's being
Okay.
prepared by council, signed by council.
So look out for it.
So look out for it, because what's going to happen is you'll get it, you'll be able to review the draft, and send in your comments. Don't be shy. Send in your comments, tell them, our attorneys, tell Mr. Middleton what you think. If you have questions, they'll answer them.
What we think of the town?
No,
His response. He's responding on behalf
Questions
of
about that.
Well, that we're not going to address here, because
Right, that's why
that's not
I didn't
our-
bring it up, but.
that's not our place.
I-
Look, let me put it this way. That's the town's state.
Our response
That's it.
can address those things.
Our response will address that.
Good, but I have questions that I would like to ask about that,
Well, why don't you wait for his thing and then see if he
Yeah.
And if
addresses
he's,
it.
right, if he
Directed to
hasn't
him.
addressed
Yeah,
it.
no,
might have.
directed to Scott.
Yeah,
Directed to
yeah.
our attorney.
Very good.
But the thing I'm saying is, do it quickly, because we're under short deadline. So be on the lookout for your email.
From Scott.
From Scott,
Okay.
yeah, and get back to him.
That within a few days?
Right away. Like, you may have it may be in your mailbox now, it may be in your mailbox tomorrow morning.
Okay.
I know his intention is to get it out, thank you for asking. His intention is to get it out by Friday. So,
Oh, good. Yeah, I think we have 10 days.
yeah, you have 10 days.
10
and-
business days or
No,
10
day
regular
days.
days? Day days.
On the date of, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, and like I say, this says received, but it's dated the
Not yet.
29th, so
Nothing in like that.
we gotta get,
Nice.
be on the lookout. I'm gonna send him an
Tuesday,
email.
31, right? So
I'm gonna send him an email, he and I talked about this last night. He's gonna try, get it out tonight, maybe, tomorrow for sure. And it's the draft, so it's like, my line to my clients is, it's a draft. It's not going out yet, so read it and tell me what's wrong with it, or tell me what you like about it or don't like about it, but don't be shy,
Okay.
okay? I'm sure they'll really appreciate it. So, I mean, no,
Don't be
seriously.
shy.
No. You know what the thing is? When you do a legal document, and you don't want the client turning around going, I didn't want to stay there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
right? With that, who wants to make a motion to adjourn? Bruce, second, you get the second. The second was Diane. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.